The following presentation is rated R.
This hit goes out to you, Mr. Wick.
42 regular, wasn't it?
Yeah. And so it begins.
Yeah. I'm living in this time behind enemy lines, so I got mine. I hope you
Challenge you to single combat.
If you win, you'll have your freedom.
And when I see you, I'ma take what I want, so
Amen.
yeah. You ain't real, hope ya. Y'all feel the wrath of the killer. Many try, many die. If you wanna war, get it bloody.
Step up on your ego.
The only way John Wick will ever have freedom and peace is in death.
Yeah. Not really.
It's the 10th year of my movie month. 30 movies, 30 days. Movie month, 30 podcasts, 30 days. Movie month, 30 movies, 30 days, 30 podcasts. It's year 10.
Happy Monday, everybody, and welcome back to the 19th day of movie month. Yes, it's June 19th, which means for the 19th day in a row, I've watched a movie I've never seen. And for the 19th day in a row, I'm here podcasting about it to you in my backyard. Hopefully the air conditioner won't kick on. Folks, it's a little early today. It's only 5:50 when I started recording this. But I got to get out of here about 6:20 because I'm meeting a friend. We're going to go for a walk. So you got me for about close to a half hour. I probably should take a tinkle first. But I'm here. I had the day off today. My work, actually, it's a holiday, Juneteenth, so I had the day off. And I said, I'm going to use this day off to watch a very long movie, and that's what I did. I watched the nearly 3-hour-long John Wick Chapter 4. No extra name. Last one was Parabellum. The first two John Wicks I watched in the same movie month. The third one I saw in the theater. And that is the last time I've seen any John Wicks. I haven't, I love them. If they're on TV, I'll keep them on for a little while, but I haven't really sat down to rewatch them. I don't do that a lot. I don't do that enough. So I am here kind of going only on memory. You know, one thing, I mean, these are long movies, and I'm going to just talk about it as quickly as I can. But the whole thing with the finger and the cut off finger, I don't remember. I was like, is that where they cut off his ring and they cut off the finger? They showed a few different guys. Does that mean all these guys at some point had issues? I don't know. Here's what I think about these movies. And I don't know if we're ever going to see another one. They're talking about a possibility, but the way this one ended, and spoilers, I'm going to talk about this movie like you've seen it. So the way this ended, I don't know if we're going to get any more John Wick, but it definitely set up that we're going to see the world in some way. And I know there is it they're different shows. So there was it Ballerina? Was that one of the shows? There's going to be about the female, or is that going to be a spin-off movie? And then there's a TV show about the Continental. And I mean, when I saw Lance Reddick, I was like, oh man, and I thought, how could they do a TV show without him? Well, unfortunately, in the movie, the character himself was taken out. The Continental was taken out, but it's being rebuilt, and I wonder if that's part of the TV show. I wonder if Ian McShane will be part of that. I don't know much about it at all, but my thinking is anytime I get to be in this world, this crazy world that I just thought was going to be a guy killing people, but turned into this like world of assassins where there are rules and laws and councils and tables, and I mean, anytime you get to see any of this stuff, I am all in, and I will watch it. The movie like picks up, and I'm like, where are we? What are we doing? He just wants to get out. He was out before, and then they brought him back. Well, that's what happens when you kill a man's dog, especially if that dog's a beagle. I had a dream. I'm sure I've talked about this before. I had a dream once where like there was these people around, they're petting my dog, and the woman says, there's like a woman there. She goes, I'm going to take this dog. I was like, what? She goes, I'm taking this dog. And I tell my wife this all the time. I said, in the dream, I remember it, and I remember being proud of it. I remember believing it when I said it. I go, if you try to take my dog, I will kill you. And I said that matter of fact in this dream, and I was like, that's the closest to John Wick I've ever become. And I thought about it today. I thought of how many children are fatherless. They have no dads because someone attacked John Wick, killed his dog, and he went back in, and he's killed hundreds upon hundreds of men. I'm going to say many of them deserve it, and this is how I judge. Now, John Wick was an assassin. That's not a real honorable lot in life. But here's the way I judge it: if you're helping John Wick, or you are John Wick, you're a good guy. If you are not, then John can kill you, and I'm totally cool with that. That is the moral line that I set for these movies. If you're either with John Wick or you're against John Wick, which means you're either good or bad, and that's it. And even like there are guys who are kind of against John Wick, but they're not really. They're just kind of there for their work. So I was like, you know what? I don't want you to kill these guys. They make them likable, but if it comes between John and you guys, I'm picking John. Luckily, it never came to that. So we got this one guy, Mr. Nobody. I don't know the actor. He looked somewhat familiar, but I don't know. He's got a dog. And I was like, oh, God, don't do this to me again with a dog. And John Wick helped save the dog, but that dog was like kicking ass on his own. And then part of me is going, that is very irresponsible of this man to put his dog into this life of mischief and crime. I'm not sure I like that. But he's there. He's there to kill John Wick. He's there to find John Wick and kill John Wick. But then you don't want him to. Like, you want him to live, and you don't want him to kill John Wick, but you don't want John Wick to kill him. Then there is the real, like, star of the movie, besides John Wick, is Donnie Yen, who I've known as an action star, a Chinese action star, for years. I've just known the name. I've heard of the Ip Man movies. I've never seen any of them. I've seen him in things. I've seen him in Rogue One. I've known the name, and he was just the coolest mofo in this movie. A blind assassin who just kind of he was so nonchalant. Like at one point, there's this shootout, and he's just eating noodles, and then he walks around. And he puts these magnets, and you think, what are these things? All they are is like motion detecting doorbells. I mean, that he used to figure out exactly where to shoot. He was the coolest guy in this movie, and when it came down to the two of them in the duel, I was like, they had to have thought of something, and of course they did, so they could kill the Marquis. Like, they make these, like, it is, if done incorrectly, it's cheesy. Either way, it's cheesy. Where the high table and the council and the Marquis has the power of the table, and you have to be summoned back into a family and get the family crest. And yet, I love it. Eat it up. Give me more backstory. Make this world bigger. Give me more, like, I can't think of the word, but it's world building. I want more of it. And it's like at the beginning, he goes to this guy. Was he like the highest higher up, I guess? And then the Marquis took over. This guy, and in the credits, he's listed like 3. I was like, oh, this guy, he's going to be important. and John Wick gets to him, while riding a horse, and he just shoots. He's like, "There's nothing you can do. There's, killing me won't change anything. They'll just replace me." He's like, "I guess so." Bang, shoot you dead. And they did replace him, and they replaced him with Bill Skarsgård. I had no idea he was in this. I did not know this, and all of a sudden, boom! This is my second Skarsgård in a row. Okay, I've double Skarsgård. Did double Skarsgård did. And actually, maybe I've triple Skarsgård because I got his dad, right? His dad's Stellan Skarsgård. I'm not crazy, right? And his brother was over on Succession. We're Skars Guardians. They should make the Skars Guardians of the Galaxy and just get them all together. Anyway, he's like the big bad guy, and it's really the same simple thing. We need to kill John Wick. And John Wick's hiding, and if you help him, we're gonna take your hotel, the Continental. There's one in New York. That's the one with Ian McShane. That's the one we know. That's the first one we ever saw, and they blew it up, and they killed Lance Reddick's character, and so you feel bad. The worst part is that he's dead in real life, that he died in real life, and I'm just like, oh my God, seeing that, and in memory of him at the end. And we see his gravestone. Ian McShane has been excommunicado, but he gets a way back in later by helping John Wick. I love the later. I'm all over the place. There's a part. It's a spectacle. It's a spectacle to they make this giant world, but it's nothing overcomplicated where you just have to. It's just come along for the ride. And accept everything as logical and makes sense. Accept the fact that his suit is Kevlar and they never shoot his hands and he can block it. Accept the fact that you're 3 feet away from someone and you're missing each other. I love it. Fights go on forever, and then they stop, and then another one comes in. And there's a fight, and you see this room with all this glass where people are training. I thought, there's going to be major fighting there, and there was. And it was him and his friend Kane, Donnie Yen. And you can see they don't hate each other, but it's all about work. And Donnie Kane's daughter is she's not safe. She's in danger unless he does this job. At the same time, you got Mr. Nobody, who's really just wants to get a payday. It seems like there's nothing personal with him. And then there's these characters who own the Okada. Was it in Japan? I think. I don't know. They own another Continental, and they're talking to John Wick, and the daughter's like, hates the fact that they're there, and then they show up and say, "You've helped John Wick. Now we're taking your hotel too." So then we got all kinds of fights. Like the dude who runs the place, and I've seen him in stuff. I've seen him in many things. I'm trying to think of the last thing I saw him on, but he was like even on Lost years ago, I think. And there's something I feel like more recently I've seen him in, but I don't know. But him and his daughter run this place, and then he gets all his men, and he's like, "It's time to go to time to fight." And they don't go and grab guns; they grab freaking bow and arrows and swords. And I'm like, "Yes, please, yes, please." And then fight, all kinds of stuff. John Wick comes in now; he's there to fight. He fights Donnie Yen. They end up getting away, and I love they have now. At some point, they end up in Paris, and like we have I think it's in the Eiffel Towers where all the communicate. No, what are they called? The operators. They have the same kind of group of these operators who use old-fashioned computers. They're all tattooed up, and they let people know, and they give you the price of John Wick's head. I mean, it is silly and amazing all at the same time. Bill Skarsgård's going off on this, like he's doing this French, I think it's French accent. He's the Marquis, just hamming it up. I'm enjoying it all. But it's so, I think part of the time I'm watching the fighting, I am just in awe of the beauty of the lighting. Like I was nerding out about the lighting. Now, I saw this thing once, I think it was on YouTube, a lighting director or someone was kind of explaining the whole thing of like, if you look at a lot of, dramatic lighting, you'll see it's orange and blue. And one side is orange, one side is blue. And then once I learned that, it's like I saw it all the time. I was like, oh, there it is. Like it's a major use. Like you'll see like half the screen is orange or half their face is lit in orange, other half is in blue. This did it with orange, blue. They did it with red and blue. They did it with red and purple. Like they did it red and green. Just all kinds of this lighting, and every scene was like especially like so well designed that you feel like you're in a music video at sometimes, but then he's killing people around you. I mean, it was long. It was long, and I found myself going, oh, like my eyes closed, but I was lying down on. I call it the movie theater. I go into the bedroom, and I got a little popcorn, and I close the drapes because we have like the drapes in the bedroom can make it really dark. And I fire up the TV, and I'm like, all right, here we go. But then all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, what was that? And I'm rewinding, and I'm not like bored or anything. I'm just like, I'm up too late making these movie month podcasts, so I'm glad I got this one early. And then I finished it in the living room after a while. I was like, because for some reason, I rented it on Google. My TV in the bedroom has a Roku, which you have to go through YouTube, and all of a sudden the sound was off, which annoyed me. Back in the living room, we have a Google TV thing, so that I just go in perfectly. It's easy. It worked right there. It was perfectly fine. So it's basically what it comes down to is John Wick needs to take this guy out. He needs to take the Marquis out, but he can't do that unless he's part of a family. So he goes back to his original family. He's like, "Can I please come back into the family?" And they're trying to hang him. But they also said, okay, you have to do this. You have to go kill the man who killed my father. So he goes and finds this big fat. It's Scott Adkins I think his name is the actor, but he's in a big fat suit. And there's a card game. There's just like, it's crazy. He almost slices this guy's neck with a card. I love it. It's Donnie Yen. It's Mr. Nobody. It's Kane, Wick, Nobody, and this dude. I think his name was Killer. And huge fight there. Then once he kills the guy, rips his teeth out, brings it back to the woman, and she goes, all right, you're in. Let's brand our arms, and now we're back in the family. Now that he's back in the family, Ian McShane can deliver a letter and say, John Wick challenges you to a duel. And he's like, he can't. Yes, he can. He's back in the family. So they have this whole setup. Clancy Brown comes in because he works for the high table or whatever it is, the council. He comes in, and they flip these metal cards. It's almost like they're playing like a game where whichever card's higher, you get the choice. So they choose guns at sundown or at dawn in someplace beautiful in Paris. So it's going to be a duel, an old-fashioned duel. But then the Marquis like, but I don't think John Wick will get to Paris. Ho, ho, ho. And then he goes and hires a bunch of assassins to try to take John Wick out before the duel. Oh, and he also tells Kane, Donnie Yen, well, he's going to be my proxy. He's actually going to be doing the duel. And if you win, you get your daughter out and you're free too. But even if you lose, your daughter's free either way. I think the daughter's free either way. So then there's another whole chunk of the movie where John Wick is basically trying to stay alive long enough to get to the duel, which is a what's that Arc de the Covenant, the big Arc de Triomphe, whatever it is. It's a giant thing, and it's right. We're in Paris, and it's got the big roundabout, the big rotary. Looks like it has like 11 lanes of traffic. Huge set piece of action there. At one point, he's driving. He's drifting, Tokyo drifting around these guys like in a car with no doors on it, and he's just shooting at them. They're shooting at him. He's killing them all. They're missing him completely. I love it. I'll take it. Big fight scene there. Then they get to another building because John Wick keeps getting away. He gets into a building, and then you get one of those scenes where you go, okay, this is unique. I was talking about a oneer the other day with Extraction 2, a one-shot. Well, this was kind of a one-shot, but it was done in a very different way. The camera follows John Wick as he comes around the corner, and then it goes up above. And from there on out, it's almost like you're watching almost an old video game or like the board game Clue where it shows all the rooms, and you're just seeing him shooting, and it looks like all one long shot, and the camera's just tracking along. And he's killing people. He's got this flare gun that shoots like sparks. Ridiculous. And then it stops, and then they do another one. Again, I'm like, yes, keep doing this. Like, it was a nice, unique thing that they brought in that I've never seen something quite like that before. Then you're like, wow, that was the big set piece. Then they're like, all right, you're almost there, but you have to get up these 200 steps. He's like, oh, okay. Starts going up, and then you realize there's hundreds of assassins or dozens of assassins. And they're fighting to get up. He's got to kill people, throw people downstairs. I mean, it's crazy. He finally gets to the top, and then there's a bunch of bad guys like, not so fast, and they throw him, and he goes almost all the way, rolls down. The stunt person had to do some of this. He goes all the way down the stairs again, and then he gets, finally, him and Donnie Yen work together. Even though they know they're going to be in a duel together, they help each other to get there, and I think that's where they plan something, I think. Because the duel happens, and it's at 30 paces. It is all like, very dramatic with old-looking pistols with big silver bullets. And he tells the Marquis, like, once you do this, your daughter is free. And he just goes, F you, right to him. Like, I don't want to hear from you, but I'm still doing it. So, boom, first shot, they clip each other. Then they move 10 paces closer. Second shot, they clip each other again. Then they get even closer. Third shot, John Wick goes down, and the other guy he's still up. And then the Marquis is like, I want the coup de grace. And he takes the final bullet. He goes over to kill him. And then Ian McShane, he says, you arrogant son of a bitch. He said it with a British accent. He's like, what? He goes, he didn't fire. And then he looks, and John Wick still has a bullet in his gun. Boom, pops the guy in the head and blows his brains out. And then he's like, take me home. And John Wick, you are free. Kane, you are free. Your daughter is free. Well, we get to John Wick goes down. He's like, take me home. He goes, sits on the step. He stumbles over. Next thing we see is his headstone. And Lawrence Fishburne's there. I forgot. He's been there helping him with suits. Ian McShane's there. And I'm like, what? No. Wait. And then John Wick's going to come up and put his arms around him, right? Nope. The way this ended, John Wick is dead. I don't know. I don't believe it. Then I went all the way through the credits. I said, there's got to be something. And then there was. I said, oh, thank God. But it's not John Wick. It's Donnie Yen watching his daughter, he's a blind character. He can't do it. He's kind of walking towards his daughter who's playing like a violin out in the middle of a public. And then you see from the beginning, the other guy who I really liked from the Japanese Continental, Donnie Yen and him fought, and he killed him. So this daughter's like, I'm going to avenge the man who killed my father. Well, as the hours go on, you really like Donnie Yen. You kind of like him there, but you really like him at the end. And then you see this woman flash a knife like she's going to kill Kane right there. And then it goes to black. And I'm like, what? So I don't know if that's setting things up for a TV show, if that's setting things up for a spin-off movie. I don't know if it's setting up for John Wick 5. All I know is I think the producers were ready for John Wick 4 to be the final chapter. And then it had like an amazing opening weekend. They're like, well, shit. Okay, maybe we could be open for John Wick 5. I mean, John Wick could be in the grave and just dig himself out. I'm not dead yet. And I don't know why he talks. He'd be like this. I'm not dead yet. There's not a lot of emotion because, again, Keanu Reeves, he's not the most emotive actor, and yet I'll watch him. I'll watch him shoot people. I'll watch him time travel in a telephone booth. I'll watch him, dodge bullets. Now, that last Matrix, I didn't, it was okay. It wasn't very memorable, but I'll watch him. Keanu, you want to still do it? You want to be John Wick until you're 80? I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll be there. I'll be there with you no matter what. John Wick 5 through 10, I'll love as much as I love John Wick 1 through 4. I promise. And I think that's it. I think I'm done here. Now, long movie, but, it's because there are 1,000 long set pieces of fighting, which was just, I love it. I love the choreography. I love the idea of how they actually pull these things off is always exciting. And I love the originality of that overhead stuff. That was bonkers. So much fun. Just very glad I finally watched this movie. And that's it. I think I'm going to go get ready and go join my buddy. I didn't even last that long. I still probably could give you about 5 more minutes, but I do have to. I really should go, make a number one before I go and take a walk. So I think I'm going to leave you now. I think I'll leave you with that wonderful thought, imagery. But I want to tell you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Mastodon.social @GeekMentality. You can find us on Facebook, Fans Not Experts. Not all the people over there, but you can find us there. And, of course, the website is fansnotexperts.com. Now, this podcast is a labor of love for me. It is like my true It is my home. I do other podcasts. I do podcasts on TV shows, on stuff that are very focused on that world. But this is my podcast where I can just come and just gabba about all kinds of, nonsense. And it doesn't have a big audience. So the fact that you keep coming back just makes me really appreciate it. So I just want to say thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for subscribing. And you know what else? Here is my theme song. I ran out. This is my podcast, I made it. Geek Mentality's what I named it. And I think you should listen and subscribe, 'cause I'm kinda funny and awesome. I think that I'm worth your time, and I'm kinda handsome. My mom says, please listen and please subscribe. At least listen to this episode. Fab's not experts.